It's been about 26 months and 90 games since I covered the first Legend of Zelda. I think it's time to 100% Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link. Like the first game, I first played this game through the NES Classics line on the GBA back in 2005. I also own it on the GameCube Collection disc. I never did beat it until I did for this show. I got to around the third dungeon I think and never progressed further despite several attempts at playthroughs over the next 3 or so years. Here I'm playing it on the Wii U Virtual Console. Since after I recorded this game, we now know it's going down next year, I've been trying to download as many of the games I'd want to play for this show that would be harder to obtain legitimately anywhere else on my limited funds. So for those of you who watch my recent collecting videos, they may also become less frequent depending on how much goes towards the Virtual Console. As for the story, it's set 4 years after the first game. Around his 16th birthday, Link gets a Triforce marking on his hand. Link shows this mark to Impa, who takes Link to the North Castle, revealing to him a second Princess Zelda, who has been trapped under a sleeping spell for generations. Back when Hyrule was a unified country, the king maintained peace using the entire Triforce, but when he died, only part of the Triforce passed down to the prince, as he didn't possess all 3 components of the Triforce equally. While searching for the other pieces, a wizard convinced him that his sister Zelda knew where they were. The prince tries to get her to talk, which results in the wizard putting Zelda under a seemingly permanent sleeping spell, also killing the wizard. In his grief, the prince puts into law that all women born into the royal family shall be named Zelda. Impa gives Link a scroll and 6 crystals. The scroll tells of the Triforce being split into 3 pieces: Wisdom, Power and Courage. Link already got Wisdom and Power in the first game, but Courage was hidden with a spell that would place a mark on the hand of anyone who is capable of holding the Triforce of Courage. It is hidden in the Great Palace in the Valley of Death, but to enter it, Link must first make his way through 6 palaces around Hyrule, defeat their guardians, and place a crystal in the forehead of the statue being guarded. Only then will the barrier blocking entry into the Great Palace be removed. But that's not all. After Ganon's death at Link's hands, he still has living devoted followers out to revive him, and it turns out that sacrificing Link and sprinkling his blood on Ganon's ashes will revive him. Now it's time to actually start the game. We always start the game inside the North Castle, where we can see the sleeping Zelda. Strangely, the Zelda we saved in the first game, who is presumably ruling Hyrule now, is nowhere to be seen and never mentioned. As you can see, most of the gameplay is now a side-scroller, with an RPG-style world map when not in towns, dungeons or fights. Enemies appear on the overworld as little moving blobs, and coming into contact puts you in a battle screen. My first fight here is against Boss, the red slimes, and Bits, the blue slimes. The blue ones can jump at me, but the red ones are nothing. I head north into this one patch of forest to enter a hidden area. Here are some aches that can be a pain to react to with their patterns. Most important is this point bag that gives me the 50 XP needed to level up. I can only afford to increase my life, which I choose to do. But if I wanted to, I could hold on to this XP so that I can afford another upgrade earlier. From there I follow the path southeast into the town of Rauru. Here I have people I can talk to and some houses to enter. Talking to the women in red dresses will have them invite you into their house where they will heal you fully. The joke's been made a million times, I won't add to it. Personally, my favourite NPC in the line has always been the simple, "Sorry, I know nothing." On the second screen, I talk to the woman in purple leaving a house with a paw above her head to have her let me in to speak with her father. All towns have old men that will teach Link new skills. This one teaches me the shield spell. For 32 magic points it will make Link's clothes red and half damage taken until you either die or move on to another screen. Time to leave town. The southern path is blocked by a roadblock, so I head north into this forest. Here I face orange moblins who don't award any experience when killed. There's also the dealer, spiders that lower themselves from trees to try and hit me. Like the first game, when at full health, sword attacks will also fire a beam. Northeast of the town is a cave I can enter. I don't have an item to light my way, so it's dark. This has a side effect of making enemies invisible. Just heading left lets me leave the other side into a desert. There's a palace here, but I'm not entering just yet. Fairies can also be seen moving around the otherworld. Touching them will trigger a battle scene with just the fairy to grab. I go east and then south. On the way I face my first Geldarm. Hitting them makes them recede into the ground, allowing you to actually damage them by hitting their head. We also have projectiles flying around. Most of them can be blocked by just letting them make contact with Link's shield. I gotta say, when Link's standing still, I just cannot see the shield as a shield. It always looked like he's holding a second sword to me. Continuing south, there's a spot that automatically puts me in this platforming section, jumping over the pits. Gotta be careful though, as these rising bubbles can knock me backwards when they hit. I aim for this empty spot in the middle of the forest, but a monster touches me at the same time, so I end up pinned between 2 Gorias. These are a much bigger pain than they were in the first game with their boomerangs. Didn't help that a new enemy, Megmat, also shows up to jump at me, resulting in my first death. I decide the only correct choice is to just run through them and escape off screen. I step on that spot again to be taken to this Stonehenge looking place where I find a heart container. While health is mainly extended through levelling, there are still 4 of these hidden around the country. Luckily, the Goria hitting me during that couldn't actually damage me. If they can't move further backwards, they are much easier to kill. On the way back I lose a second of my 3 lives getting knocked into water by a bubble. It happens again close to the end, getting me a game over and claiming Ganon's revival. Getting a game over makes me start from the North Castle with all my current XP taken away, but other things I gained like items and spells are kept. I return to the desert and finally enter that palace I walked past, Parapa Palace. I head right and down a lift. Down here are Wasu. These give no experience when killed, but if you get hit by them it will drain a little of your XP. I head left into the next room. After somehow losing half of my health to a bit, I meet my first Stalfos. I can just crouch stab and they can't do anything. They drop 30 experience which allows me to get my magic to level 2. Leveling magic reduces spell costs. All the way to the left is a key I can pick up by hitting it. I return to the first room and go to the next room on the right. I unlock the door, ignore the bubble as it isn't worth fighting right now, and keep going right into the next room. Where one slip of the thumb has me crouch facing the wrong direction, letting Stalfos get the killing blow on me. But the game is very generous and restarts me at the beginning of this room. But then I end up with a bad situation close to this lift. I cannot get around this Stalfos here without taking damage and I end up close to death again trying to force my way through it. I move right into the next room. I keep going right, killing more enemies and pass another lift to find a much appreciated fairy. I take the lift up, head up some stairs and grab another key off the ground. Right into the next room, I get some great luck when a bit drops another point bag. Going all the way right has me meet my first Goomba. They're basically this game's hammer brother, throwing maces in the same arc they throw hammers, but that arc also means they can't hit me up close, so I back him up to a wall and stab him to death, getting me the 150 XP needed to upgrade my life to level 3. I grab the key he was guarding. Also, many of these statues will drop magic potions when stabbed, but later some can transform into enemies. I go back down the lift and since it's in the right spot, I decide to kill this bubble. It has so much health that it takes over 30 seconds of constant stabbing to kill, but it does get me 50 XP. I backtrack to the lift I skipped earlier and take it down. Going left, this room has even more bubbles. I kill 2 but take too much damage from the others, so I just move left to the next room where I actually get killed by a bit jumping at me. This is one issue I have with the game. Your combat options are far too limited to start with. Simple enemies like bits can absolutely be a problem thanks to the way they jump and not having a good enough way to deal with that. I run across this collapsing bridge, just barely getting the point bag without dying. With 200 XP, I can finally upgrade attack to level 2, so less enemies will require a million hits to kill. And at the other end, another bit drops me a point bag. In the next room I meet another Goomba, but this time I'm not risking the mace damage and using the shield spell. Past him is the first Iron Knuckle of the game. These are scary with their constantly moving shield and long sword range, but if you get this jump and stab timing correct, they become far more manageable. I unlock the door behind it and grab the candle, which automatically lights all dark caves in the game. I backtrack once again and return to the second lift, but this time I take it down. There's 9 Knuckle in this cramped corridor and he takes my last life, back to the North Castle. I return to him with even more XP than I just lost to him and kill him this time. I continue right up some stairs, taking out more Stalfos on the way, and in the next room I unlock another door and kill another Goomba for the 300 XP that gets my magic to level 3. Further right is another Iron Knuckle and then on to the next room. This takes me to the Palace Guardian, Horsehead. His only attack is to swing his mace and his only weak spot is his horse head. He has a health bar that goes down a block with each hit, so I know it will only take 8 hits to kill. This guy is absolutely no threat and only manages to hit me once before I kill him. He drops the final key, letting me unlock the door to the statue that I place a crystal in. Doing so also fills my health and magic and gives me the XP for my next level, which in this case is life level 4. I can exit out of the right, and if you've collected every item in the palace, it will be destroyed when you complete it, but only when you collect them all. You can't lose an important item forever. My next destination is a cave southwest of the North Castle, with the candle I can now see in here. We have new enemy Veloda, who can only try to charge me head on. We also have the return of the Octoroks. These ones are placed in a position so that if I crouch, their rocks can't hit me. One even kindly drops another point bag. I've been getting good luck with these so far. At the end of the cave is a magic container. Like the heart container, there are 4 of these and they upgrade my maximum magic points. To the far north of the North Palace is another cave in the desert. It's merely jumping over pits with enemies we've already seen. At the end there's a red Goria guarding a trophy. Once I leave, I get back on the path and head west to the town of Ruto. In the first open house we can meet Era. I'm sure most people now know this, but his name was never a translation error, his name was always meant to be Error. On the second screen, I talk to the woman that leaves the first house to return the trophy to her. She lets me enter the house and talk to her uncle, the town's old man. He gives me the jump spell, which the 32 magic points increases my jump height until I leave that screen. From that town I go south to enter a cave. It's mainly a couple Octoroks and a red Goria. The thing is, when an enemy drops an item like a magic potion on death, you don't get any XP from them, which is especially annoying when it's an enemy that gives a lot of XP like a Goria. The second screen has a few loaders and I get killed by another red Goria. Next time I kill it and head through to the third screen. In here are a couple Aches and the new Ake Man, who transforms into a fire-breathing gargoyle thing when it gets close to the ground. I just barely kill it and reach the first place in the game requiring that I use the jump spell. Going right a little more puts me back outside on the other side of that cave. My health is dangerously low, but thankfully a patch of forest just to the right has a fairy in it. I go south into the Midori Swamp, which slows my walking speed. This also applies to battle scenes as well. While looking for a specific spot, I end up getting harassed by Moby. These are another enemy that end up stealing XP if they hit you. Thanks to dealing with both of them and Octoroks, I get killed. The spot I'm looking for is one tile southwest of this boulder. It lets me grab a link doll that gives me an extra life. Now people usually save these for when they need them for a difficult part. But I know I'm never going to be holding onto lives for long, and these are a one-time pickup, so I'm just getting them out of the way whenever I can. Southeast of the swamp, I head into this forest and stand on another specific tile. Here I find a house where I meet Bug, whose name is incorrectly localised as Bagu, who gives me a note for Riverman. On my way out of the forest, I lose that new life to a Megamat. South of the forest is a bridge that triggers another battle scene. This is basically a Super Mario Bros. Level. I'm running across a bridge while avoiding jumping fish, this time Bago Bago. Being hit by them takes 10 XP from me, but only from direct contact, their projectiles don't take any. I lose half my life before I make it to the other side. South of the bridge is my next town, the water town of Saria. When you've played Ocarina of Time before this, that just doesn't sound right. On the second screen I enter the first house where by the table I can have Link say his first spoken words in the series when he says he found a mirror under the table. I go back to the first screen and return it to the woman holding a paw above her head. She lets me into her house so I can talk to the old man to learn the life spell. 60 magic points will restore my health. I leave town and go east to this one patch of forest. Inside is a point bag that gives me 100 XP. Then I just hang around and kill enemies to reach 500 before I get a game over and lose it all. With it I get my attack to level 3. Back in Saria, I go all the way left to the last screen so I can enter Riverman's house and hand him the note so he'll lower the bridge and let me access the southern part of town where I can leave. And to the south is the entrance to the hardest part of the game already, Death Mountain. I got through this place once when I was about 15 and never again. I start by taking the cave on the right. A red moblin with its spear range leaves me a hit from a game over already, just in time for a second to finish me off. I return there with all 3 lives next time. I kill the moblins and make it through. From where it puts me I can only go right into another cave. In here I almost get killed by a blue Goria, the strongest version. I end up having to use my life spell. Once again when I leave I can only go right into a third cave. After some aches I reach a lift and get attacked by one of the most difficult enemies in the game, a Daira. Their axes have better range than my sword and they deal a ton of damage, so I lose my first life. The plus side to this is that my magic refills so I can cast shield. This time I kill the Daira with a pattern of crouch stabbing, taking one step forward and repeating. I ignore the lift and go out the right side. Of my 2 choices I once again take the right side. This one just has me crossing another bridge with Bago Bago jumping out at me. Then once again I can only move right into another cave. This has me running into an even worse red Daira. These ones throw their axes and this one kills me in no time. Even more annoying is that my sword beams don't even damage him. I kill him but my crouch stab pattern doesn't work on these ones since range is never an issue for them. This time when I leave I head south to the next cave where I get killed by the blue Goria again. Game over. Gotta start that again. No, I'm not 100%, but I believe the entire Death Mountain area is supposed to represent the entirety of Zelda 1's Hyrule, since that was also a mostly rocky region, and not just the area the first game's final dungeon was. This time it takes until the red Daira for me to lose my first life, so I'm doing better. This time I kill that blue Goria, but can't take a single hit without dying. After it, another Daira has me trapped. I can't drop down so I try to jump over it, but it moves back so I land on it and die. Next time I take no chances and activate shield before I kill it. Then when I leave through the other side, the cave is to the south again. There's another Daira running against the wall, but at least I can stab this one in the face. While it was nice getting a magic refill, missing out on that 70 XP did hurt considering how close to a level up that would put me. But I get the XP from the next one at least. I leave and south once more gets me to yet another cave. Right away I'm killing another Daira and getting the 700 XP to raise magic to level 4. Continuing left, I kill another Daira and leave to be put on a beach. I go to the left a little and enter this hole next to a boulder which is apparently Spectacle Rock from the first game. I get stuck with another red Daira that just manages to keep me at a slight distance and he takes my last life. This close to the end, I was not happy. Fourth attempt and I once again lose my last life to that first red Daira's axe in my skull. I honestly can't think of another enemy in this entire series that I hate more than the Daira. Only this time it kills me twice. Then I lose my last life to that same orange Daira that took my second life last time. So I decide, fuck it, time to grind, and put myself in that forest south of Parappa Palace. It takes about 10 minutes around here to reach the 800 XP needed to get my life to level 5. That should at least combat some of the ridiculous damage the Daira does. This time I do well enough that the same orange Daira only takes my first life. This time I return to Spectacle Rock, kill the Daira, fight through a few Eggman and move on to the second screen. At the start of this screen I reach 1000 XP which gets my attack to level 4. I deal with another orange Daira, take the lift down and move left in time to be killed by another red Daira. I'm at least thankful it ends at red and there's no even stronger blue Daira. This time I can pin him in the corner and quickly stab him to death. There's also the Mew here, but they're so low down I can't hit them right now. I go left to the next screen where it turns out there's just a magic potion. I turn to the lift and go right where I have to deal with another of these fuckers. This time I'm lucky enough to back him into the exit and make him fall off the screen. The next screen has me jumping over lava pits and since I only have this life left, I'm shitting myself with every jump. The next screen has me fighting 2 more Dairas and after that I can finally grab the hammer, which lets me smash boulders on the overworld. But then a dickhead Eggman kills me on the way out, so I have to go through Death Mountain yet again for one more item. I make it back to Spectacle Rock with 2 lives and smash the boulder next to it. I step on the tile where it was and fall into a hole where I can grab my second magic container. From there I go all the way east and into the cave there. I'm jumping over more lava pits and I lose my second life when an Octorok knocks me back into one mid-jump. Next time I use the jump spell to be certain I go over it. This puts me out on the eastern side of Death Mountain, so I just go north into one last cave. And that's the worst part of the game over with. It spits me out into the area east of Saria. The only path I can take is this bridge. It's not much trouble, even the blue moblins couldn't get at me with my sword beams. But the second screen adds the rising bubbles and I just can't be free of red Dairas. But after that it's the end of the bridge and I exit into a graveyard. Slightly to the south is a tile where I can find another Link doll. I go north and smash this boulder to return to the Midoro swamp. I smash the boulder block in the cave and enter. The first screen is some Bagos and Magmets, the second has an orange Daira. Thankfully these now only take 3 hits to kill, but it's followed up by a red one who kills me. Good thing I got that doll. I'd have been pissed to game over with only 32 XP left to level up. I kill it and the 1200 XP gets me to magic level 5. Then there's another who drops a point bag with a nice 200 XP in it. Behind it is the item I came in here for, the Water of Life. I return to the previous boulder I smashed and go north and then west into another cave. Just got some Magmets and an orange Goria to deal with on the way to the second screen containing a point bag worth 200 XP. Then back on the path and slightly north, I smash the boulder south of Rauru. I no longer have to go through the cave south of Ruto again. Then to the east I smash another boulder blocking another cave. The only real threat here is a blue Goria on the first screen before I find my second heart container on the second screen. I return to the region with the graveyard and follow the path east to the harbour town of Mido. I always wondered why most of the other towns became the names of sages in Ocarina of Time, but Mido just becomes the name of the shithead kid. On the second screen I use the jump spell to reach the open door on top of this church. Inside a knight teaches me the best skill in the game, the downstab. Now when I jump at an enemy, if I hold down, I'll attack them from above. This just makes moving around enemies so much easier. On the third screen I talk to the old woman leaving her house and give her the Water of Life. She lets me inside so I can talk to the old man who teaches me the fairy spell. For 40 magic points I can transform into a fairy with no means of attack, but I gain free flight. Then I leave town and head north past the boulder I smashed again. South of one of the caves I entered earlier is a spot with a one-time magic potion I pick up. I then go through the gap to the west and eventually reach Midoro Palace. I head right and go down the lift. I ignore the first floor down and keep moving past the second until I reach the bottom floor. Got some steps to climb, but now these statues will start spitting fireballs towards me. I move right to the next screen where I have to take on another Guma. When I first found these I thought they were a nightmare, but after dealing with red Dairas, these guys don't seem anywhere near as bad. I use the platform to jump over the next one and grab a key. I return to the lift, go up to the second floor and go left. Here we have the return of the ropes from the first game. For being so easy to kill, I wasn't expecting 20 XP each from them. Bubbles still take forever though. I move on to the next screen where I face my first blue Stalfos. These guys also have their own version of the downstab, but at this point they only take 2 hits to kill. I grab another key, return to the lift, go up to the first floor and go left. There's a thing on the ceiling dropping fireballs and a single blue Stalfos before the next screen. On this screen I find a Ra. These move in the way of the Castlevania Medusa head pattern and on contact steal XP from me. Further left I unlock a door and move on to the next screen. I jump onto this row of blocks above lava and grab another key, then keep moving to the next screen. Orange Iron Knuckles only take 3 hits to kill now, but the next one is a little harder thanks to a bubble distracting me. To the next screen once again. The only threat here is more bubbles which get me the 1500 XP for life level 6. At the end I find a lift and take it down to the next floor, then go west again. I unlock a door and move to another screen. In this room I have blocks dropping from the ceiling. They block a point bag so I leave, come back in, grab it and move left to the next screen. I use the jump spell to reach a statue for a magic potion, but this makes things harder as I have to fight a stronger red iron knuckle and with my higher jump, getting the timing for the pattern is much harder. But I still manage it and unlock a door to face a second. After killing it I can grab the unfortunately named Handy Glove. With this my sword can now break certain heavy blocks in the palaces. I return to the lift and take it down, avoiding the mower flying around here. I have to deal with it flying around and dropping fire around me while I take on an iron knuckle. I move on to the next screen, take out a Stalfos while avoiding fire from the statues, and smash through the blocks I can now destroy. I do it once more to reach the next room. If I can get above a bubble as it moves, the downstab is a very good method of killing them. Going further is another lift, but I move past it for now and to the next room. There's another Goomba at the end of this one guarding another key. Once I've got it, I return to the lift and go down to the bottom floor of the palace. Climb some stairs while killing another Goomba and move to the next screen. I drop through the bridges while downstabbing to grab the point bag and quickly run across the rest of the bridge. I take out an iron knuckle and move on. I unlock a door, take out a pair of iron knuckles and move on to the boss room. I activate the shield and take on Helmet Head. I hit his head twice to knock his helmet off. Not only will he fire projectiles out of his face, but the helmet I knocked off will also fly around above me and do the same. But this guy is really easy and dies in no time. I place the helmet and with the level up granted to me, I reach attack level 5. That's a third of the palaces cleared. Once I'm outside, I return to the graveyard near Mido, and slightly southwest of the grave in the middle is another one-time magic potion to grab. The lone grave in the middle is the King's Tomb. Walking directly south from it has me fall down a hole into a cave. To the right is a high wall requiring me to use a fairy spell to fly up and continue to the next screen. Nothing new here, and I'm even able to kill Blue Gorius without being touched. Exiting this cave puts me on an island with the third palace to the northwest. This is the Island Palace and around the furthest I've ever got in this game before. I can't remember if I ever completed this palace, but I know for a fact I never reached the 4th palace. This time the first lift can only take me down one floor where I can only move to the right. My first enemy is essentially the dungeon equivalent of a Red Dyra, a Doom Knocker. They fight in similar ways, but I find these easier to kill. It's followed up by slightly stronger armoured Stalfos that fights the same and dies easily. On to the next screen. Here are many rows of those now breakable blocks. Not much to say and I move on. This room also just has me moving straight forward, avoiding fire from a mower and blocks falling from the ceiling. And it's another room with breakable floors. I make sure to downstab my way to this key on the way and after dealing with another Doom Knocker, a point bag. Then it's moving on. There's an iron knuckle trapped in the blocks that I deal with, but after that I just jump over the rest of it until I reach a lift and my first red armoured Stalfos. But I tell that bitch to fuck himself and instead move right to the next screen. This screen has me outside, fighting iron knuckles while avoiding mower fireballs. At the end is a key to grab and I go to the previous screen, kill the Stalfos and take the lift down. I go right and unlock the door, kill these Mao that simply fly and fire projectiles and move on to the next screen. I kill another iron knuckle and I'm left with very little health and not enough magic for the life spell, but then I meet the blue iron knuckle which can throw its swords, resulting in my death and a game over. Considering this was the same life I completed the entire Midori Palace with too, I would have been more surprised if I cleared 2 palaces without dying once. I make it back, but lose my first life to the first armoured Stalfos. One thing I just need to keep in mind is that unlike the Red Dyras, I can actually block the Iron Knuckles' thrown weapon with my shield. I kill it and unlock the door behind it to find the raft, which I'll use after finishing this palace. I backtrack to the lift and go left, making sure to strike the statue head for a magic potion so I can heal. The next room is another Iron Knuckle. Then I ignore the lift and keep moving left to the next screen. I climb some blocks and move along them, killing Mao until I see another key to downstab my way to. I ferry my way out and backtrack to the lift and go down it to the bottom floor. This room has more of the same enemies, but I do need to use the jump spell at one point to reach a point bag. The next room, I have to climb these blocks to the top level and downstab through some blocks to face a red iron knuckle while a blue one on the other side is throwing shit at me and leaves me a hit from death. I'm about to leave the room but then I see a point bag on the lowest level, so I have to fight the blue iron knuckle anyway. I fail to stab and instead ram my face into it to lose my second life. Next time it turns out I can just start at the bottom and run along it to reach the point bag. Not dealing with an iron knuckle without being able to jump, so I continue on to the next screen. I activate the shield in this room and take on the third boss, Rebonak. He'll just pass by the screen back and forth trying to ram me with his horse, but I jump in place and downstab, hoping to get his head. After 5 hits the horse runs away and he becomes a regular blue iron knuckle and a bigger threat, but at least he only takes 4 hits to kill. I unlock the door and place a third crystal. That's half of them and the level up gets me to magic level 6. That's where I'll be leaving this game this episode. Next time I'll be covering the other 4 dungeons in this game. I will say that Death Mountain aside, I've been enjoying this game a lot more than I ever have before. We'll see how I feel after the rest of it.